All right, welcome again, everybody. This is our July 2022 Town Hall for North Carolina Outward Bound School. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to hear lots of great updates. As many of you know, summer is our busy time. So thanks for being here. We'll try to keep it right at an hour, and we'll save about 15 or 20 minutes at the end to do question and answer so that we can hear directly from you. So I'm going to hand it over to B to get us started.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us for this July Town Hall. I'm going to start out with a reading today. And I'm reading To Know by Experience. And this is a book from the early 70s that was written by Dan Meyer and his wife. They put this book together. And I'm just curious, for those of you that would be willing to come off of, put your camera on so we can see you. I would love to see a show of hands of how many people have actually seen this book before. All right, great to see a lot of you. I see quite a few folks. Okay, thank you. I'm going to do this reading. This is from a student impression. My lack of confidence and even fear at times stuck out like a sore thumb, but surprisingly, I was not met with derision and ridicule, but the cheers and encouragement of my newly discovered comrades, students and instructors alike. I began to feel then that indeed I would make it through. And that is a perfect tone to set as we go into this town hall talking about we are crew, not passengers. And I see that, Will Barnhart, I see you holding up your copy of the book. And I am now going to share my screen. And can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. How many people know what this picture is?
I can't find my own picture.
I hear your voice, Ray Cooper.
I don't know how to get my picture up. I look beautiful.
This is the very first North Carolina Outward Bound School course, NC1. We are celebrating 55 years this year at the North Carolina Outward Bound School. And we had a lovely event weekend before last as a big way to bring everyone together and celebrate here in Asheville. And we actually sang happy birthday to NCOBS. I'm not going to spark that big happy birthday song on this Zoom call, but suffice it to say, we had a great turnout for that event. Sabrina's going to talk a little bit about that later in our program, but 55 years of changing lives through challenge and discovery. And there are many, many lives that have been changed throughout all of our different course areas. The work that we're doing here at the North Carolina Outward Bound Schools. So we have a lot to be proud of. I'm going to give a really high level overview of what is going on right now. And we have a few people on the call here that you're going to hear from as well today. But this is a picture of our all staff this year. It was the first time that the staff had come together in almost 2.5 years to be able to celebrate 55 years and also talk about what has been going on as we've navigated the pandemic here. And many of you know that we have been navigating unprecedented times at NCOBS. And so it was so exciting to be able to bring our entire crew together to talk about some of the challenges that we're facing and also celebrate some of the wins that we've had during this time. And this is a tremendous crew that is super busy right now delivering courses in the field. And again, you're going to hear a little bit more about that when Deb and Stiles give the report about what's going on in the field. So lots of enthusiasm with our new staff and everyone coming into our training season this fall. We had about 18 new instructors that we recruited, and they have all been in the pipeline working throughout the summer. Many of you all know that we've been navigating staffing issues, and this is something that we continue to see throughout the country and really throughout the world. And we will be navigating these staffing issues for the foreseeable future. And this is something, as we look at our progressions, that we're starting to really spend a lot of time focusing on our recruiting and our retention, and thinking about, as we're going to market to recruit new instructors into the pipeline, really understanding those demographics and how we meet our staff, where our staff are. And that is requiring quite a few focus groups really to better understand the population, being able to look at the courses that we're delivering in the field and how we retain staff. So this is something you're going to hear a little bit more about later as we give our updates. We're gearing up for a strategic planning process. This is a really exciting time as we think about the constraints that we're modeling, but also the different things within our formula that are working quite well. And we have been going to market for a strategic planning consultant, and 3 different vendors have been vetted, and a decision will be made in August. And we will be stepping into that process in earnest in September. So the strategic planning process will be probably an 8-month process. And again, I'll speak to that a little bit more as I move through this presentation. And we have been delivering our 55th anniversary celebrations, and Sabrina's going to speak to that as well. This is a picture of Alexis. Alexis runs our Unity program out of Charlotte, and these are all of the instructors that help deliver the Unity program this year. And Alexis will give us an update about it as well. But look at all those smiles. It was tremendously successful. We had 4 different crews in the field as a part of the Unity program this year. And we also had a number of individuals that were from our BIPOC fellowship that helped deliver those courses as well. And so it was a tremendously successful course. So I'm just going to go through these points pretty quickly, but it's just a very high level overview of what has been going on in Q1 and Q2 here in Cobb's. Again, we're focusing, doubling down on our admin and field staff retention. A lot of energy and time and leadership efforts are going into, specifically from our HR team, to better understand how we can retain staff. And so as a part of that, we've been looking at the compensation and our benefits packages, the number of days worked, and also looking at that course progression from summer into our fall, into the Everglades season, and then into the spring season, and thinking about progression from AI to I to LI, and also looking at our leadership teams within Cedar Rock and Table Rock. And again, Stiles and Deb will speak a little bit more to our program leadership and what that looks like moving forward. We're in the process of building out our fiscal year 24 course calendar, and that will go live soon nationally through OBSG. And so we've been spending a lot of time really understanding what courses are filling, what our fill rates look like, and also modeling our profit margins and being able to understand where we should be focusing efforts moving into the next calendar year. We've had restructuring in 2 departments, specifically community programs and also in our development department. And as we move forward, we are building out both of those departments. During the pandemic, We had a bit of change that happened in our community programs as well as in the development. So again, in the process, building community programs out with Sarah Goldman leading the charge there. And on the development side of the house, we have Sabrina leading the charge there. Our DEI and BIPOC fellowship, we had 7 individuals who came in through our BIPOC fellowship this year. Again, tremendously successful. As I was coming into the building tonight, I ran into 2 of the individuals who were a part of the BIPOC fellowship, and they just had a mini reunion, that group in Charleston just this week. And just an incredible amount of energy and expertise as we are developing out all of our DEI efforts across every line of the business. Bill will speak to IT platforms and system optimization and some of the things that we're doing to basically raise the bar and basically look at how we're optimizing all the way across, again, each line of the business. So a lot of work is going into our IT platforms right now.
Is that outsourced? Is the IT outsourced? Do you have a director or IT director?
Bill, you want to speak to that?
Sure. We do have a director of IT, Sanjay Singh, who's been with us for a long time. His specialty is more hardware, systems, and security. And then we have other staff who have some expertise in more of the IS side of things, but we do not have a director of IS, and that is a little bit of a gap. Looking at ways that we can fill that gap.
Is that something you're looking for help with, or?
With the IS, we're always open to help.
I was the chief information officer for 20 years, so be glad to get engaged if possible. Thank you.
Wonderful. And Sabrina, we have Mr. Clark's information.
Yes, we can connect
Perfect.
after. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, great. And then also we're looking at our KPIs, key performance indicators, and our metrics and dashboards. So there's a lot of dashboard development that is happening right now. So again, this is a bit down in the weeds, but I thought I would give you a pretty good overview. And suffice it to say, we've been really busy over the course of the past 3 to 4 months. And these are the key words that we're really focusing on. Of course, there is more in us than we know. And we talk a lot about that. And that's not only in the field as we're delivering our courses, it's also as we look at our admin staff and as we think about all of the different areas of the business: innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurial mindset, and relationship management are all core tenets right now that we are focusing on, not only as a leadership team at InComs, but again, just across the board as we bridge between our admin staff and our field staff. So a lot of research and development work is happening as we think about how we're stepping into this new chapter. And so with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to turn it over to Deb and to Styles to give an update from the program side of the house. And we're going to move through a few different updates, and then we'll have a question and answer session at the end of these updates. How's that sound? Okay, Deb, over to you.
Thanks, B. Now you should be able to hear me. I've got like 3 different mutes on. Hey, so good evening, everybody. Deb Sweeney Whitmore here. What I can tell you about courses right now is the mountain base camps are off to the races. And we are experiencing a lovely, typical North Carolina summer We've got bugs, we've got ticks, we've got snakes, we've got high humidity, we've got thunderstorms, and we are just super thankful that we have the environment providing us some semblance of normalcy out there. Our 2 mountain program directors are back for their second seasons. That includes Styles Rader, who here is on the call, and also Josh Winnacore, who is over at Cedar Rock. And many of you folks may know the name Trish Heights. Trish is working up in the mountains, and she will be returning late October to Everglades City, and that's going to be her 12th season as program director down in Everglades City. So we are very thankful for the program directors that we have leading, spearheading our bases during what's been a pretty interesting couple of 2 years. And this season is no different. I think people may be aware that our Outer Banks program, we did run that in 2021, though a much smaller program. We've made the decision, because of the staffing challenges and constraints that Bea alluded to, that we are not opening that base camp for this summer nor next summer, just so that we can really hone in on the resources that we have for the mountains in Everglades City. We also will be going back to international travel this fall, and we are very psyched to go back down to Argentina. Our 3 courses that we run down there, that are the 2 semesters and a 12-day service backpack, they're already enrolled. So people are very excited to travel, and we are keeping our fingers crossed that Argentina keeps tracking similar to the USA with regards to COVID and all of that. As Bea stated, but I just want to re-say, Cedar Rock hosted all staff training at the end of May, and it was a highlight for me. Missing those 2 years was pretty horrible, and the energy that was created at all staff, and we're a much smaller group than we have been in the past, but I'll say that the fun factor and the energy and just the spirit was just as big, if not bigger, and that's really helped propel the staff into the season thus far. So a couple of trends that may come as no surprise to folks that we are seeing in the field right now is COVID. COVID is still here, even though I think that a lot of us would like it not to be. But this year, compared to last year, we actually are experiencing a greater number of students having COVID prior to coming, at course start, and during the courses, as well as staff getting sick with COVID during their short time away from base camps. So I will say that our protocols for COVID have been solid. We are adapting as quickly as we can following the CDC guidelines. And just those protocols have really been really what's been allowing us to serve students and deliver the mission, which is what we're here for. So we would love for it to go away, and hopefully it will very soon. But just know that we are doing our best under some pretty challenging circumstances to have great courses out there for staff and students. And then the other thing that we're just seeing is the pandemic's been rough. It's been rough on everybody. I think I can say that statement. And so the students are coming onto course, and they've had a long 2 years, and we're definitely seeing some increase in behavior issues, mental health issues that we're working through with staff. And I would say that the strengths that we are seeing, and what I would like to share, is we knew that this was probably going to happen for students. And so our staff training season for all of our employees has been really robust on how to handle people coming out of isolation, lockdown, and lack of social skills over the last couple of years. So our training program for staff has been pretty comprehensive and has been doing really well. I've also talked about our protocols for COVID. They've been really superb. And then a big shout out to all our staff, because adaptability and the ability to pivot, those things are a strength in all our staff, because we are asking every day to just change and adapt depending on what is happening, and they are doing it really well. And I think that that's characteristics of outward bound employees regardless, but it's definitely being put to use more so than what we would like, but the staff are doing really great at pivoting and adapting. And as B alluded to, in a few weeks, we will be posting our positions for 2023. It's a little bit earlier than we have done before, but what we are realizing is with the staffing shortage crunch is we just really need people to commit to 2023 a lot sooner. And we do foresee that we're going to have some turnover in our base leadership positions, specifically at our Cedar Rock base camp, that we are aware of, and we'll be posting those jobs. And I'm talking about program director, associate program director, kitchen manager, logistics managers, those kind of roles. And we'll be knowing in the next couple of weeks what those positions are. So for all of you out there who can help us out, we are looking for great individuals to come join our team in all our positions, because we want to serve more students and we would like more staff in our ranks. So that's it from the operations, and I'd love to pass it over to Styles for an update that she can give.
Hi, I'm Styles. I'm the program director at Table Rack. Thanks for inviting me here, Sabrina. It's always exciting to talk about our staff and courses. Right now at Table Rack, we have a 22-day course in the field and 3 9-day courses in pre-course. Our 28-day course into today was really exciting. Lots of happy students returned home. At Cedar Rock, they have 2 9-day courses in the field, 2 14-day courses, and 1 22-day. So this is definitely like our busiest chunk of the summer, the last half of July. And overall, we're a little over halfway through our season. There are really strong staff communities at both base camps. I've really enjoyed my time both at Table Rock and Cedar Rock this season, working and spending time with staff. Deb said this, but I have been like consistently inspired and impressed by the flexibility and adaptive changing of plans that our instructors have demonstrated in the field due to COVID positive students at Course Start or on course. We recently had a course at Table Rock where we had 3 students test positive for COVID on day 6 of course, which meant the instructors had to completely redesign the second half of course to be distance and not require other staff to come in. And I got to do their CD interview, their course director interview at the end of course. And the students were like, we're so happy that we didn't have to interact with anybody else. We had so much fun. We loved our instructors and loved our crew. And like, you would never have known that they like didn't get to go to the river. So I've been really impressed by our staff. We are really looking forward to the fall season. As some of you may know, our Cedar Rock base camp is closing at the end of August. And so all of the staff will come back together to end for the last 2 months of the season at Table Rock. And I know myself and most of the staff are really looking forward to that sort of culminating experience all together at the end of the season. We are looking forward to a wood-fired pizza party here in a couple weeks at Table Rock, as well as hosting the board of directors at the end of October as sort of a last hurrah for the 2022 season. I think a highlight for me is I am heading down to Argentina at the end of the year to sort of end the year and kick off our return to international travel and programming. Really looking forward to that. And I think The most inspiring thing to me this season has been to watch a lot of our old staff like really rally behind NCOBs and come back to support us this season in whatever role is appropriate. John Carrick, I see, is on the call. He CD'd a vets course. Kent Satterfield coming up tomorrow to work logistics. Alan Coulter. The list goes on and on, but I am like very deeply thankful for everybody who has helped in whatever way, because it is felt at the base camps.
That's great. Thank you, Stiles and Deb. And I want to continue along that line and just give a humongous shout out to the program team, because both as Deb and Stiles alluded to, we're not out of the weeds yet. It has been increasingly difficult week in and week out with COVID positive cases. And every time there's a positive case, that requires a pivot. And these guys across the board, men and women, have completely pulled themselves up by their bootstraps with the can-do attitude of, okay, we are going to be able to twist, turn to ensure that we're able to meet the needs of our students in the field. So huge accolades, and thank you both for those great updates. I'm now going to turn it over to Alexis, and I'll just also note that Alexis has been on a little mission. She is in her car right now, which you will notice as she goes to give her update. And that's because she is also stepping in to help pinch hit right now with logistics at Table Rock. And she has been on a little bit of a mission this afternoon. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Alexis, to give us an update.
Thank you so much, B, and good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Alexis J. Taylor. I'm the Charlotte Program Manager and filling in for Sarah Goldman to give an update of community-based programs. I am reporting live from the Walmart parking lot in an NCOB's vehicle, helping out logistics staff. It's been fantastic just being able to get back on base camp, feeling the love, and just everyone, as people mentioning, everyone rallying together. It's just so much support and love felt there. It's really appreciated, not only in person, but from all you all just even showing up today. And so our community-based programs is led by Sarah Goldman, our community-based program director. And she has been just taking the lead in charge of just doing everything that she possibly can to make this department excellent. And it really is. Our community-based programs includes the Educators Charlotte program, Outward Bound Professional as well, and virtual. So a couple of highlights from those is that our educators course, we had our 8-day educators initiative, and that was completed July 6th, and we had a full crew. I know many people on this call know Dr. Gordon Grant. Gordo, he assisted as the course director for that course, and it was an absolutely fantastic program. And we also have to give thanks to just Josh Whitaker and Kelly App for really assisting with our educators program. I have the pleasure of being able to work on our Charlotte programs with our Charlotte students and adults. And this summer, we've had some great programs coming. We actually just finished up our Rufus M. Dalton Scholarship. That is a scholarship that started a few years ago, where we award several recipients for a choice of a 9, 14, or 22-day course. We had 4 students attend this summer. We had 2 students attend a 9-day course, 1 a 14 and a 22-day course. And 3 of the 4 of those students were actually former Charlotte Unity students. And it just shows the impact that our programs continue to have. In fact, we actually had one of our Dalton Scholar students on this call. She had to go. She is getting ready to attend UNC Chapel Hill. And I know she had a couple of running around things to do. So I'm glad she even jumped in. Just a fantastic program, and so excited that 4 students had a chance to participate in an open enrollment course. Our Charlotte Unity project, that's been going on for over 25 years. And this summer we had fantastic, really amazing crews that came out. We had 4 crews representing 6 Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, and they participated in our 7-day Unity Wilderness course. A big thanks to every single person who helped out with this program. It is really such a highlight and a gem being able to provide our Charlotte students with a fully funded opportunity to do this. And again, that keyword is just opportunity. And by the students being able to do this program for free, it opened up their minds and opened up the doors just to amazing opportunities and experiences that they had. And the students left definitely having type 2 fun and really excited to just really continue with the program, which includes a school element portion of that. And they're getting ready to kickstart their school projects, either in their community or their schools. Our Charlotte Educators course will take place in the fall, and we are recruiting for that and looking forward to it. And the last thing with Charlotte is that our day program, we launched our first day program, which included former and current Unity students, our Charlotte Advisory Board members and staff, where we partnered with the Catawba Riverkeeper. And it was absolutely incredible, where we had a day of kayaking and just full of fun. And before we go on to highlights of Outward Bound Professional, type 2 fun, for someone who asked in the chat, is in the moment where you're like, oh my goodness, what in the world are we doing? How are we going to be able to hike miles or climb up this mountain? And it can be scary, or just like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. And afterward, you look back and reflect, you're like, oh my goodness, that was absolutely amazing. And I can't believe we were able to accomplish it. That's what many of my Unity students leave with. So that's type 2 fun. Thank you, Sabrina, for putting that link on there. A couple other highlights. Our Outward Bound Professional is led by Jordan Gherkin, our Outward Bound Professional Manager, and she is absolutely incredible taking on this role. We just completed the CDC program in Atlanta. We had an incredible turnout. I was able to actually participate in person and just see the power of our Outward Bound professionals and our facilitators that we have. And just a big thanks to everyone who was able to pull that off. We also completed a 3-day program in Florida with Susanna Pope and Paper, a Brazilian-owned company. So this relationship started in 2020 during the pandemic, and it was because of our ability to put on virtual programs. And so we're thankful to be able to continue that relationship. And that goes into the virtual programs that we have. Our virtual programs is really a toolbox for us to be able to deliver amazing programs across the world. And so we actually partnered with the USA Girl Scouts overseas, and we delivered what they called a virtual camp experience with Girl Scouts across the world. And that's because of the virtual programs. So again, a big thanks to Sarah for leading this department. Jordan, Kate Coffey is also on our team, and myself, and we're the community-based program department, and we're just excited to continue having the ball rolling. Thanks so much, B.
All right, great. Thank you for that wonderful update, Alexis. There is a lot going on, not only in our wilderness side of the house, but as you just heard, also on the community programming side of the house as well. All right, and Sabrina, I am now going to hand it over to you to speak to our 55th anniversary. And if you can tell us what has been happening to celebrate 55 years at NCOPS, that would be great.
Thanks, B. Hi, everybody. Sabrina, the development director here at North Carolina Outward Bound School. I feel like I know most of you at this point, but always good for a nice reintroduction. So we're celebrating 55 years of North Carolina Outward Bound School, and it has really been what I've been calling sort of a full court press. We started with what was more of a marketing focused campaign early this spring entitled "We Are Crew, Not Passengers," really wanting to reconnect with all of you, all of our former staff, all of our alumni, updating our alumni database, doing a big push to get people to update their information so that we can invite them to things like events and town halls. And then really in the month of July have been focusing on raising $55,000 in the month of July for our 55th birthday. I'm happy to announce that we are so very, very close. We are just under $54,000 right now with 3 days left in the month. So I'm very confident that we will get there. We had several donors really step up, including we did a $10,000 matching gift in the last 10 days of July. And so we are so very close, thanks to everyone who has stepped up. We did an in-person event on July 16th here in Asheville and had about 120 people come out. We raised about $11,000 of that $55,000 goal that night. So just really great to see everyone in person and watch everyone come together to support the school and continue to give so that we can continue this legacy. So if you haven't seen it, we have had sort of a series of videos for the 55 Reasons to Give campaign circulating all month long. It started with what we said was sort of a feature video that featured some of our students and our staff, 55 of just the many people who make this school what it is. And then we've had some more feature-length videos throughout the month of July. And we have one left for this month, and it's Tom Clement, and he is one of our instructors, and he really speaks to sort of the impact of Outward Bound. And so just want to cap this off before we do questions with sharing that video with you. So give me just 1 second. All right.
When people ask me what I do for a living, I say I lead backpacking trips. And I do, but it's a lot more than that. I think that the main definition that I like to use is my job is to take you out of your comfort zone without taking you out of an emotional safe space. Like you can be uncomfortable, but you never feel emotionally or physically unsafe. The majority of like what students should take out of it is that you can be out of your comfort zone and still feel safe and still feel like you're cared for. Like I want every student that leaves this program to feel like they're the coolest and most capable person on the planet. And they're like, yeah, so what? I have to do this like test thing when I get back to school, or I have to apply for this job, or I have to do this thing. Like I lived in the woods for however long and filtered my own water and cooked my own food and made my own bear hang. Like I'm awesome, I can do this. And I think that the confidence that people take away is like really, really important. Well, we have the pillars, right? There's fitness, there's self-reliance, there's craftsmanship, but above all of those, there's compassion. And I think that when we teach compassion, we're only doing good for the world. Like I think that if everybody in the world went on an Outward Bound course, if they're leaving with one thing, I want it to be compassion for like other people and like perspective of like what other people are experiencing. And I think that a lot of people do. I think that the transference of like learning about other people and other experiences is really can't be understated how important it is.
So there are more of those. If you're interested in seeing them, I encourage you to go to our website and specifically to our YouTube page. I'll put it in the link in the chat. And there are several that you can watch, including Styles, who you heard from earlier, Tom, and 2 or 3 students as well, who we did some interviews with. So it's really speaking to the impact that Outward Bound has. And yeah, it's been a really great campaign, a great way to celebrate 55 years. So I will turn it back over to B for any last minute thoughts or.
Thank you, Sabrina. And a huge, huge shout out to Sabrina and to Nicole Fava for all of the work they've done on the 55th anniversary campaign. It's been tremendously successful. And as Sabrina noted, there is still time. If you have yet to make your donation, we would love to see that happen in the next couple of days to help us meet our goal for the month of July. But that said, we still are going to be running our 55th campaign throughout the year. And as many of you know, our fiscal year ends at the end of March. So more to come on some of the things that we will be doing over the course of the next 8 months or so to celebrate the 55th anniversary of INCOPS. I have one other announcement that I want to make, and then we are going to open the floor for questions, which is that OBUSA has hired a new executive director, and that person is Ginger Mahalik. Ginger just recently got married, and so she's just changed her name actually within the past 2 weeks. Deb, can you help me with her new last name? Do you know? Ginger.
Naylor, is that right?
Naylor.
I think it's Naylor.
Okay, great. So Ginger has been the executive, she's worked for Outward Bound for 12 years, and she's been the executive director for the Baltimore Outward Bound School. And so she's no stranger at all to the mission of Outward Bound, nor to the federated system. And she brings a really long tenured history of fundraising for Baltimore and all of their community-based programs. And so I think Ginger stepping into this role, she's got an immense amount of skill as well as relationships throughout the system. And so we're really excited to see Ginger start this position and assume the post, which she will do in mid-September. And so with that, we are going to open the floor for questions.
Yes, please. We want to hear directly from you. So if you have questions, if you could either use the chat or use the raise hand feature. So down at the bottom, there's a button that says reactions. Henry's already got it. That way it just helps us keep the queue in order. So Henry, please go ahead.
I hope my internet holds up here. So you say as on an outbound course. So give me some examples of how kids learned about or students learned about compassion or discovered compassion.
Sure. Well, I'm happy to share. I can also put a link to another video. Actually, no, this was at our 55th event. One of the students spoke about how when she was on course and everyone had different physical fitness levels and how they tried to work together as a crew to make sure that they would get through the day, and how she was able to take that lesson there on course of not necessarily lowering the level, but adjusting, right? And making sure that everyone felt empowered in their crew, and how she took that back to school and how everyone was having a different experience at school and how it gave her more compassion for her classmates. And that was one of our alumni that spoke at the in-person event. It was a really great story, but I'd love if Styles or Deb, anybody wants to jump in as well, but that one was just a really nice real-time story that we just heard.
Great.
I'm going to jump in there and then I'm going to hand it over to Styles. But one thing that I heard at our Unity breakfast, which was the end of March in Charlotte, and then also again on the panel at our 55th anniversary event that was last week here in Asheville, is two different students talked about the different individuals from their schools that were on their courses that they did not know beforehand, and the relationships that they forged while on course, and how they had complete paradigm shifts around those different individuals and the friendships that were formed, and how when they got back to school that they were really going to approach their friend groups differently based on what they learned while on Outward Bound. And it was quite profound when one of the students was sharing about that last week at the event here in Asheville. But Styles, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
I mean, I think big picture, we take strangers and put them on course together and ask them to do hard things. It's hard to not like appreciate where other people are coming from, even if you disagree. Like there is a common respect built because of this like common shared experience.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, Henry, let us know if you have any other thoughts or happy to answer them. Dean, it looks like you had your hand up.
Greetings, folks. Couple of questions. One, is Skip to My Lou still a climb on Table Rock? Question one. Question two, okay, I'm seeing bobbed heads there, okay. I was just scared to death when I did that climb, just to let you all know. I thought that was it, I would die. Second question, Deb, you were saying that due to the worldwide pandemic, students were showing up with some mental health issues. Can you drill down on that a little? I come from the world of mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just appreciating that there's a lot of chronic trauma for people. And there was before, but now I feel like it's just a little just this far under the surface, and it pops up a lot easier. And so we're seeing not only behavioral issues, I mean, we're doing so much training on anxiety and panic attacks, and we're seeing panic attacks on the rise with students, and just dealing with them with that. And so that anxiety is what they're bringing to the course, not necessarily what is being created on the course, and that we're working with those students. And you can all appreciate that there's 2 instructors out there with 12 kids, and we were just talking about compassion. And when a student is having a panic attack, anxious, anxiety, is showing low motivation, not participating. We also see self-harm and suicide ideation. They're the things that we are training our staff on. And I think it's always been there. It's just being more brought out onto the surface now with the pandemic and the chronic trauma that I would say that most, if not all, people are carrying to some degree at this time.
And Skip to Milo is still a climb at Table Rock, and we do it with students.
Nice.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks for those questions. Paige, and I'm thinking maybe Joe has a question. Joe, if you want to go after Paige.
Thank you for everyone. I had the same question about how the anxiety and the mental health issues were manifesting on tour. So thank you for those answers. I guess a follow-up would be, what kind of training are the instructors asking for? And related to that is, I didn't know if there was any sort of screening on, oh, have you had any anxiety that's come up recently or something like that, so that you might be aware ahead of time. Just interested to know. Thanks.
Sure. And Styles, I'll take the screening, and then if you want to take the other part so that we can share our voices out here. Our medical director has been with the school for a long time as well. And I would say that those screening guidelines have adapted and pivoted as student populations change over the decades. And there is a lot of screening there with regards to counseling questionnaires. We reach out to their therapists and counselors so that we get more information, because we all know that Outward Bound courses are hard and challenging. That's the whole purpose. And so we want to make sure that when we screen a student on course, that it's going to be an appropriate challenge and not one that's going to push them further than what they mentally need to go. And so I would say that that's a very robust process, and it relies on the parents and families divulging and sharing so that we know exactly what's actually happening.
Yeah, I echo everything Deb said. And I think too, like, I read almost every medical for all of the courses at Table Rock, and there are much fewer amount of students who aren't diagnosed with some sort of anxiety, depression, or somewhere on that spectrum. Like, most of our students are coming to course with that. And I think the other sort of thing is, a lot of our students were in school for 1.5 years or 2 years. They were like sitting in front of a computer screen. And I think that is shown in socialization. So like, we allow 14-year-olds on course, but socially they are very much still like 12-year-olds in a lot of ways, with like emotional regulation. And I think that has been a new one. We have, in the past like 18 months, we have had a licensed therapist come in and do a full day training about the nervous system and regulating it, as well as we do a full training at our return staff training. So like our 2nd year and beyond staff, about anxiety and depression and different cool tools to help support students. And I think it's called psychological first aid, is a new piece of curriculum that is a part of any wilderness first responder, wilderness first aid, or EMT course these days. It's being provided by Knowles and some of the big providers. So that is also like a baseline training that all of our staff have received, because all of our staff have those certifications.
Thank you very much. It's really something to think about, that we're adults and I went through COVID, but imagine if you were 14, and just the added intensity is just
totally
incredible. Thank you.
Our students are incredibly resilient too, with like all of the things that happen. I'm surprised that our students are showing up with as much resiliency and positivity as they are.
Paige, I also want to add that, we've seen that our staff need resources too. And Devin Stiles can definitely speak to that as well. We've upped the ante on how much support we're actually providing for our staff as well, as individuals at base camp, and making licensed therapists available for our staff, and just ensuring that we're looking at the timing between courses and well-being needs, and what are the things that we can do to really bolster our staff's well-being through this time as well. So it's not just with the students, it's also with our staff. And I think, these are the people on the front lines delivering our mission day in and day out. And Stiles and Deb spoke to the resiliency and I think really the need to be able to deal with unknowns, ambiguity, pivoting, a lot of things that we're asking of our staff on a daily basis, in addition to actually delivering our mission in the field. And so these are things that I just want to ensure everyone knows how important it is to support our staff and the people on the front lines delivering our mission day in, day out.
Thanks, everybody. Scott, I see your hand. I'll get to it. I just wanted to confirm, Joe, I think you maybe had a question. I noticed you were off mute.
Oh, I'm off mute.
Oh, it's okay if you don't. I just wanted to make sure. Good to see you, Joe. Glad you're here. Awesome. Scott, go ahead.
Hey, not really a question, just a statement of how much we all appreciate the veterans programs and the sponsors that provide those opportunities for our veterans, active duty and retired, to get out there and explore an environment where the environment serves as a tool and the catalyst to provide an opportunity to reflect and rekindle our purpose and our why. And so I've been fortunate to participate in 2 of those events in the past, and just want to say thank you for all you do for our veterans. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate that. All right, this is great timing. We have about 5 minutes left. Anybody else? One more question? All right. Well, please know that we are all here for you anytime. Happy to answer your questions. Doesn't just have to be during one of these town halls, but we're really thankful that you joined us to just hear about what's happening with the school. As a reminder, we do these not quite quarterly, but the next one is coming up on October 20th. So hopefully you'll be able to join us then. And then I will just hand it over to Bea for sort of any closing comments.
Great. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you all for being here tonight. And just want to do a really big shout out to all of you, because we are a community and we are crew, not passengers. And we could not do our work without each and every one of you being a part of this community and supporting the work that we do, not only our staff, but our students. And it really ensures that we're able to deliver our mission. So by the nature of showing up and asking these great questions and just connecting this way, I think it's one of the positives that has come out of the pandemic, that we are able to tap into our community on a regular basis. But with that said, we do look forward to seeing all of you, hopefully in person at some point in time. So stay tuned. We just had one 55th anniversary event. We would like to have another one. And so Sabrina and I have been chatting about that quite a bit, and that will go out. It probably will not be until the spring, but I just wanted to go ahead and plant that seed for you all. And it's great to see you. Thanks again for joining us this evening, and hoping you all have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay. Bye-bye.